Okay, 1 year on YouTube. It's hard to believe it's already been a year since I came down these stairs and introduced you guys to my aquarium basement fish room. But yeah, it's been a year. So I was thinking what I'd like to do is take a video where just kind of recap everything that we did over the year, how much the fish basement has changed, and more importantly maybe, what are the plans for 2022? You're going to want to hang around to the end of this because there's some big plans for 2022. Before I get too far along, Happy New Year to everybody. Hope everybody has a great 2022, and let's dive into the fish basement. Okay, Aquarium fish basement. When we first introduced the basement, all we really had was the 3,000 gallon over there, the 125 over here, and we had the in wall, which at the time was the 1,000 gallon marine system, but we know now it's a 1,500 gallon marine system. We've done so much that my assistant, she's all worn out. Look at that, she's yawning. Yeah, we've been working. We've been working because we built things like Predator Bay, and a 150 gallon Reef cube, and a Reef slope, and other things coming. And of course, oh my gosh, how much change has the 3,000 gallon gone through this year? A lot. And then of course, there's tanks that are still going through change right now. So the 220 here, we know this is going to be turning into the 750. All these guys are going to their new home. We know the 125 is going to be turning into the 600. You know what? Let's go back there and check that out. So right off the bat, we know with 2022, we're going to be setting up these two aquariums behind me, the 600 gallon and the 750 over here. So the 600 gallon is going to be the new Asian Jungle Stream aquarium, and it's going to be 6 feet long, 4 feet front to back, 3 feet tall, so quite a bit more room to do some cool things with the aquascape. And then of course, even more room in the 750, which is going to be the new Amazonian island. So this is going to be the ultimate home for true parrot cichlids, Severum, Acara, and all kinds of large tetra to mix up in between them, cory cats, you name it. This is going to be one heck of a tank. I can't wait to set up both of these. Anyone who I've conversed with in comments knows that I am super pumped to aquascape these tanks. I literally have thousands of pounds worth of materials that I've sort of hoarded up over the year to get these done. So it's going to be a lot of work, but it is it's going to be something special, that's for sure. Oh, and a little update on this. Anyone who saw part 4 of this build knows that I'm waiting on the glass. Well, I got the update. The glass comes January 6, 2022. So the builds are moving right along. And no end of the year wrap up on the aquarium basement would be even near complete without touching on the 3,000 gallon planted, full live planted, large Amazonian cichlid aquarium. This is a lot of people's favorite aquarium. Hell, it's one of my favorite aquariums. That's why I took the effort to build it. But we know over the last year, just in 1 year, so we saw this tank get built, we saw it go online. Then we changed out all the plants. And then we've had some negative things happen. We had a leak, we had to fix a leak. We had a fish jump out, we had a fish die. We had to get another fish. We brought in some new fish. We're working on building up the stock. We completely overhauled the filtration and the lighting, and there's actually more things on the docket for this tank in 2022, because there's some fish that I want to keep in here, but they're not in here yet, and I need to do some things to get the tank ready for them. Specifically, I need to restructure how I'm doing the tops on this. I'm going to put a whole new bracing that goes the entire 21 feet long across the tank, across the middle, so that I can have smaller tops, like a left or a front and a back on each section, rather than a big 6-foot top going across the entire tank. And what that's going to allow me to do is put a system in place to keep a certain fish from being able to jump out, push the tops off. So that's something we'll be working on, you know, right at the beginning of 2022. And of course, on the saltwater side of the house, you know, we have the 150-gallon Reef cube, and I just had an update video. Again, everything's going great. I still struggle with corals. Everyone knows I'm 90% a fish keeper, 10% a coral keeper. So, you know, I do the best I can and I love them, but, you know, for me, it's all about the fish. But we're working on some easy corals in here, and we're going to make this look like a reef tank yet. Give it some time, but, you know, we'll get it done. Then, of course, staying on the saltwater side of the house, everybody knows I love my sharks, and everybody knows that Predator Bay was built to keep sharks. There's other stuff in here as well. Groupers, rays, eels, but it's all about the sharks with me. There was just a recent video on this, so I won't say too much, but I think what 2022 holds for Predator Bay is we're just gonna grow these guys up. We're gonna see how does the filtration system do. So far it's doing great, but how does it do when these guys are all full grown? It's a lot of bio load when you have a bunch of 4-foot long, 3 to 4 foot long sharks when they're full grown. So, you know, let's see how it holds up, and then depending on how that does and how it looks as far as how comfortable the tank looks with their adult size, you know, we'll look at maybe adding, you know, some other fish to here. We'll see how it works out, but in the meantime, I think 2022 for Predator Bay is just going to be about growing out the fish and just enjoying the tank. So not only did we build Predator Bay and the double DIY builds, we also built the 600-gallon Reef float. 6 foot wide, 4 foot front to back, and 4 foot tall aquarium. So I've never built an aquarium that was 4 feet tall before, and I have to tell you, it is both awesome and a pain in the butt at the same time. I love the way the fish act in the tanks, you know, how they'll be up here, if they're threatened, they'll go down a little bit because they realize how deep it is, you know, and they really take advantage of it. And we know we have some big fish in here. We have some full-size angels, we have some huge tangs, you know, Venengue tang, and you know, even regal tangs get a foot long. So we have big fish in here. We have a nice big deep scape. So from that standpoint, it's awesome. But trying to micromanage a tank like this, trying to get down there to place corals down, you know, 3.5 feet down in the tank, like that leather right there, it's really hard. It's a pain in the butt. So it's definitely going to affect how I escape the tank and basically the trajectory of this tank moving forward. But so for 2022, there's still a lot of work to do here. This tank is really new. It wasn't that long ago before the reef wasn't even covered in coralline algae. You know, we all remember what it looked like just a matter of months ago. So a lot of work to go here, including I want to build the reef up some more. I want to go higher with that reef. I want to accentuate that 4 feet depth. I'll never build another tank this deep, I don't think. So this is the one for me to accentuate it with. As well as I do, again, I'm a 90% fish keeper, 10% coral keeper, but I still want to have some easy corals in here. I want it to look more like a natural reef and less like a fish tank. So I will keep working. I'll keep plugging away. That goes for all my saltwater tanks. I will be plugging away and making these tanks look like real reefs. But again, focusing on the fish first. So the 600 reef slope is half of the 1,500-gallon salt system, and behind me, the 265 in wall is the other half with a 600 to 700-gallon refugium, you know, being the bridging the gap between the two. Both tanks feed into that refugium, and that's the main source of filtration for them. So the 265 is a lot like the 150, where it has fish I love in it, I enjoy the heck out of it, and it's a very mature tank, coralline algae everywhere, but it needs those corals. It needs some easy to keep corals that are just gonna accentuate the tank and make it look a lot better. And so that's, again, the focus for this tank for 2022, as well as with all of my marine tanks. There's still room for some fish additions, you know, here and there. So really just getting them, they're mature, they're all solid now. It's just about trying to get those easy corals growing, get them proliferating in there, get them very, you know, built up. Easy mode, like how all the tanks are running right now, where everything is very well established. That's the focus for 2022. So before I give the big news for 2022, I just want to give you a quick take on what it's been like having a YouTube channel for 1 year, sharing my aquarium basement with other hobbyists. So it's been awesome. As much as I love talking to my cat about everything going on down here, it's not the same as other hobbyists. You know, she's a good inspector of my work, but she's a little light on the conversation side. And unfortunately, my significant other doesn't really care about fish. That's why everything's down in the basement, you know, out of sight, out of mind from other people. That way I can go a little bit crazy down here and I don't get anyone else's way. So it's been great. I've met a lot of great people online. I'd list names, but honestly, thankfully, there's too many to list. There's that many great people. You know who you are because we talk back and forth in comments, you know, almost every week, right? The other amazing thing has not only been that, you know, meeting a lot of other hobbyists, a lot of really nice people, it's been that even though I've been keeping fish for like 35 years, there's still so many other people who had different experiences keeping fish, and they have a lot of good insight, they have a lot of good experiences to share with me, and they have a lot of good input. There's so many things where I think, oh, I got it all nailed down, I'm doing this, and then somebody mentions something in a comment, I'm like, damn it, that's a good idea, I should do that, you know? And it influences what I'm working on, which is awesome, you know what I mean? I love it. I love it being interactive. I love not just being alone in my basement with my fish, I love sharing it with everyone else. That's been the best thing about being on YouTube for the last year. Okay, so what's the big news for 2022? Is it finishing the double DIY builds? No. Is it rescaping the 265 and the 125? No, it's bigger than that. It's, is it like a 3,000 gallon big? Nah, it's bigger than that too. Let me show you. There it is, 2022, the big news. Yep, you're right, that's a wall. That's, that is the big news for 2022. That's a wall that's limiting what we can do in the aquarium basement, which means we're gonna be building something new on the other side of that wall, something that's gonna allow us to build some new DIY tanks to keep all the things we've always wanted to keep but didn't fit in the 3,000 gallon or Predator Bay or whatnot. So in 2022, I will be building an addition onto the aquarium basement. It is going to be 16 feet by 30 feet. So that's gonna give us a lot of room to do some really cool things. And from the ground up, it is for fish tanks, nothing else. So it is purpose built for fish tanks. And of course, all the tanks will be built by me. And you know, if you're new to the channel, you didn't get to see any of the other builds live, or if you haven't been following along the double DIY builds live, well, this is your chance. We're gonna build a lot of cool stuff in there. Nothing is in stone. So like always, I love feedback, I love input. So, you know, I have ideas of what I'm thinking about, but in terms of tanks, you know, I like to hear other people's ideas. And I know a couple people in comments, I mentioned them that they should watch this video to get some answers. And if you've ever wanted to see my version of an African cichlid tank, well, it's coming. If you've ever wanted to see my version of a Central American tank, it's coming. And if you've ever wished I had another Amazon aquarium that could keep some other Amazon fish, it's coming. And there's going to be room for a couple other ones as well. So those are completely up in the air. So that's what's coming for 2022. And I want to thank everybody who is, you know, been a subscriber on the channel, been a supporter of the channel, or more importantly, left comments and had discussions with me back and forth and just participated. It's been awesome. You've improved the aquarium hobby for me immensely, and I can't wait to see you know, what we can get done in 2022. Happy New Year, everybody.